Welcome to Korea, and you're watching The New Koreans.
So I was born a Korean, and so Korean should be my first language. However, it's not. I still feel a lot more comfortable in English. And Korean, I'm trying, I really am, but it's not so easy for me. You know, language plays a huge role in your identity. It speaks a lot about your cultural identity, your national identity, even how you think. Yeah, language, even though it's not everything, is a big part of who you are. I'm walking through Insadong right now, in the heart of Seoul. And this is supposedly one of Korea's most traditional neighborhoods where everything is about Korean tradition and culture and language. And even the signs here, all the different signs here are in Korean, and it's really hard to find any English in this neighborhood. Even one of the most Western things in this neighborhood, the Starbucks coffee shop, is not written out in English, but in Korean. Starbucks. So just as I was learning to speak my first words at the age of 3, we moved to America. This is in 1977. And so just as I was learning to say 엄마 and 아빠, my world just kind of got flipped upside down, and I started to say mom and dad. And so even though Korean is supposed to be my native language, the first language I ever learned to speak was really English. So language plays a big part in who we are and our identity. And so today I'm going to go check out a little bit more about my identity as a Korean and the Korean language, and go to a place specifically about the Korean alphabet that's hidden right in the middle of Seoul that most people don't realize. So let's go check it out. So I'm standing here in front of the iconic Sejong Daewang, or King Sejong statue in the middle of Gwanghwamun Square. Well, most people don't realize this, but underneath this square right now, there's actually a museum. King Sejong developed the Korean alphabet Hangul because at the time everyone was using Hanja, Chinese characters, and it was too difficult for the common people to read and write. And so he developed a scientific new alphabet called Hangul so that anybody could read and write. So as a kid living in America, or a little kid living in America, my parents tried their best to try to, get us to speak Korean at home all the time. But frankly, all of our friends were American. The TV that we watched, the movies, the music we listened to, all of it was American. And so English just became our natural language. And the more and more we went to school and met up with our friends, we just didn't want to speak Korean. But then in 1986, something happened. My family, we moved back to Korea. And so I was no longer in an American society where everyone was speaking English, but I was in a foreign land where everyone spoke Korean. And the problem is, I could speak a little bit of Korean, but it was pretty bad. Now, back in America, my parents did their best to try to get me and my brothers to not only speak Korean, but also read and write Korean at home. But frankly, it was very rudimentary. And so when we started school in Korea, for me it was the 5th grade, I really didn't know what I was doing. And so I remember one time one of the teachers, they got me to stand up and try to read in front of the entire class. And I was fumbling and bumbling the whole time, just stuttering through the entire paragraph. Now after I was done, the teacher, he tried to encourage me. And so he asked the entire class to clap for me. Now, it was meant to be an encouragement, but frankly, it was really embarrassing. Now, even though the Korean language is not my natural language, I was stuck here, and I had to do my best. And so, even though I wanted to return to America, I had to go through middle school and high school in Korea, and it was tough. Many words in the Korean language are actually rooted in Chinese characters. And so academically, as I was trying to keep up in my middle school and high school studies, I didn't understand a lot of what I was studying because I didn't understand the words. I didn't understand the root of the words. And so everything that I did in school, I was just trying to memorize things without understanding or knowing what I was doing. And so it became really, really difficult. And even today, I try my best, but there's still a lot of words that are, I don't know, it just kind of go over my head because I just don't understand it. So for college, I was able to go back to America and study there. But then after I graduated, I had to come back to Korea because I was a Korean citizen. And then I started working in Korea for Korean companies. And that was really difficult because my Korean language skills, I didn't go to college here, so it was actually kind of like an elementary student, or even worse than that. So I really made a lot of mistakes. Back in the early 2000s, when I first came back to Korea and I started working out here, whenever I met up with friends, a lot of times we speak in English. And so when we're on the subways or we're at restaurants or bars, some people, they would take exception to it because back then there were still a lot of people who didn't speak English. And so with that, a lot of people try to pick fights with us. They call us stupid or ignorant. They said, you look Korean, but how come you don't speak Korean? And so those were tough times back then. And so because I wanted to acclimate into the Korean culture, I tried, man. I tried really hard to try to learn the Korean language, whether it's from just a societal standpoint or even from a business standpoint. I tried really hard, and every mistake that I made sure to make note of it so I wouldn't make that mistake again, so my Korean would get better and better. I remember walking around town, and every Korean sign that I would see, I would do my best just to read it, just so that I would get better at reading and understanding Korean. What you reading there? Nowadays, there are a lot more foreigners that are living in Korea. And so I think there's a lot more understanding when people don't speak Korean so naturally. So definitely Korea has come a long way in that regard. But still, even for foreigners today, I feel like if you really want to still acclimate well into the Korean culture, you still got to learn the Korean language a little bit. A lot of foreigners right now actually speak Korean. really well, almost as well, if not better, than even some local Koreans do. I will admit that even after all these years, Korean is not my most natural language, but I'm trying. And sometimes all you can do is just try. So if you like today's video, don't forget to press that like button and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.